Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with another look at Armored Warfare. And today I'm going to be bringing you a look at the Challenger 1, the VFM or Vickers M5, the T64, as well as the M60A3. Now, of course, before getting into this footage, please keep in mind this is early access and everything and anything is subject to change. But with that said, a main battle tank that requires no introduction. This is, of course, the Challenger 1. Now, this thing is an absolute beast, and, well, it should be because it is in real life as well, but it can take quite a few hits. It's got some fantastic armor, as well as a large health pool. The only downside is, of course, going to be its lack of speed and maneuverability. It's not going to be as fast as an Abrams tank, but it can probably take quite a few more hits. So if you're looking for something that's going to keep you alive in a variety of combat situations, whether it be ranged or close quarters, the Challenger series might be for you. Now, as you can see here, I've been engaging most of my targets at range. We have taken some damage, but we still got a little over 50% health remaining, which means at this point of the match where things are critical, we can still intimidate and cause the enemy to fall back or perhaps even make mistakes. This M60 looked to be pulling back, but unfortunately for him, too little, too late, hitting him in the tail end with the 120. Now, I've got to give a lot of credit to this M2 Bradley driver. He definitely knew the strengths of his vehicle. In this game, the Bradley is labeled as fire support, and it seems that this guy understands that. He's got that Bushmaster cannon as well as TOW anti-tank missiles. You can see that he's lighting up the enemy for me there, suppressing fire, causing that Leopard 2 AV to displace. Shot out, but a miss. We're going to move our hull face front so as to provide maximum protection to the crew. And we're going to just now wait for him to make a mistake. That mistake is now. Massive hull damage there as he backs into some cover. He's hull down, only showing the front of the turret. At the time, I wasn't really sure what I was looking at. It kind of looked like I was shooting at the back of the turret, the way the gun was positioned, because I could only see the silhouette. But clearly he was facing front towards the Bradley. But we're starting to lose him here. They duck into cover. No eyes on the VBL, but I'm assuming that he's close to the Leopard. They're both low on health, and all it's going to take is one shot from me or a couple of HE shots from the Bradley. But now I'm thinking it's definitely time to press our advantage. We've got a little over 50% health. We've got the Bradley on Overwatch. We know that our armor is pretty good, so it's just time to hard charge. However, I'm betting on the fact that this VBL is going to want to flank around me as soon as he sees me engaging the Leo. So I pretend to go after the Leo, and of course remember that I've got a hill that I can work with to speed up, twist around, and let that VBL have it. Now it's just the Leo bounce off the turret. Moving to engage, shot out, but a miss. He's forgetting about one thing. Never underestimate the power of the M2 Bradley. Good game. Okay, this is the Vickers M5, or the VFM5 as it is known in Armored Warfare, and this was actually built as an export vehicle by Vickers. I don't think it ever sold, though. It's a very lightweight tank. You can see that it's got some great maneuverability and a decent gun. Shot out, targets up top. We are already pinned. Everything is lighting up around us, and I jump in here to grab some cover. The downside is we've got targets to the left as well, and so I'm moving to engage. Thankfully, it's a Stingray, which also has very light armor, actually worse armor than I do, I believe. He jumps in for a swim as well. Not happening today, but now we're taking fire from the 6 o'clock position. I'm moving to perhaps get into the next bit of cover, constantly being lit up here. Target designation, which means that if I get hit, it's going to do maximum damage, so we have to stay in cover if possible. ATGMs making their way in. Looks like I managed to survive. Watching my back here. Shot out. Massive damage. Moving to get away from that target while taking fire from the front. Thankfully, somebody's watching my back as I managed to escape that. We still have this AMX-10P that's looking to cause me some trouble. He's got that autocannon, which can be lethal, especially to light armor. I'm not going to be able to take too much sustained fire from him, so I have to stay in cover and use my speed. We're going to pop some smoke here to disappear, and also use this opportunity to back out, get on solid ground. That water is definitely slowing me down. Checking for other targets, but it looks like the AMX-10P is our only threat at the moment. Shot out, 50% damage as he continues to light us up. I'm falling back for the reload. It looks like our first shot actually took out his engine. Without that, he doesn't have a leg to stand on, and we take advantage of it. However, we're not out of this fight yet. I'm checking my flank to make sure that nobody's coming up behind me. The hill seems clear. We turn back around. There is a poor M113 there. Not really going to stand a chance in this type of battle. One more shot finishes him off. He was already engaging another target. Now that was definitely a hairy situation. Probably one of the most difficult situations I've ever found myself in within this game. But we did manage to use this vehicle's maneuverability to kind of duck in and out of some bad spots there. And I would say that if it had been in any other vehicle, something that was slower, I probably wouldn't have survived. The armor would have deflected some shots perhaps, but I think it was the speed that kept me going, because that water will definitely slow you down. Now here we're going to go ahead and use the Vickers speed to get around this target. We don't want to engage him from the front. We just want to get around him and hit him in his weak spots. We don't want to take any chances. Our team is going to win this no matter what, but I want to make sure that I stay alive, especially after that epic battle. But there's our target, not really aware of us until it's too late. Shot out. And game over for him. Final target, not in our line of sight. The rest of the team will get the job done for the victory.
Hello my friends, today we take a look at T-64, best tank in the... Get out of here, you!
Always getting me in trouble, why I oughta... Soviet strafe, that guy. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is the T-64. Whether it's the best or not, yet to be determined. This LAV in front of me, he doesn't seem to think so. For some reason, he's wanting to directly engage a main battle tank, not something that I would recommend. At this point, the only thing preventing his demise is my reload time. Quickly resolved, however. But we've still got some more targets up front. Clear to engage, shot out, we're tracked. But we do still have ourselves in a position that does provide some cover. We've got some walls, and we're able to quickly duck into this depression here, heading towards the oil fields. Notice how patience has kind of been the theme to today's video. The more time you take to perhaps even go around an objective, or the more time you take to aim properly, the more it's going to lead to your success. Also, if you're spotted, maybe a good idea to move. Still another close match, however, and we are now down to 3 as well. It is even, and I'm going to have to engage some threats. I'm thinking in the factory. Still trying to maintain range if I can. You can see one target out in the open there, taking some fire as they get lit up by my friendlies. Always remember, your main battle tanks are for the most part blind. They have the worst view range in the game, and so you have to rely on spotters, which is usually a lighter vehicle, a scout of some sort. In this case, I'm by myself now against 2 vehicles, so I have to enter the factory. I don't want to deal with a draw or perhaps even a base cap, so I go hunting. Don't really like dealing with close quarter threats, but I don't have much of a choice. Thankfully, I'm in good condition. T-64 is a pretty decent tank. I'm only dealing with a 62, low health. I miss. He hits, though. He can still do damage to us if we're not careful. I'm showing a bit too much of my side here, waiting for those reloads and hoping he makes a mistake. Can we put one through? Threading the needle. There it is. Okay, so now we're down to the AMX-10P, which is a really nice IFV. I have one. I've done pretty well with them in the past. The only downside is they're kind of large. They're easy to hit. He could have run for it, but he decided to try to go for a cap. The thing is here is he's dealing with a T-64, and I've got fantastic cross-country mobility, as you can clearly see. Now, what I would have done if I was at AMX is stuck with my T-62. If they would have had me or lured me into that close quarters environment within the factory, they would have been able to flank. The AMX shooting perhaps armor piercing or HE rounds at me into the back of my tank would have been able to do a lot of damage, especially when I'm distracted by the T-62. And even if I dispatched the 62, that AMX might have been able to flank me and put in enough 20mm to finish the job. After all, I was already pretty low health. The 62 managed to drop me a little bit more, and they may have been able to avoid situations like this. GG. And finally, we are driving out in the M60A3 Patton main battle tank. This is a lovely vehicle at its tier, at least currently. I don't know if that'll change, but you've got an updated turret. Seems like you're a bit more mobile. You're still kind of slow, though, as you were historically. You've got the ability to apply explosive reactive armor, or ERA for short. You can see some of the panels blown out there on the hull. I love that attention to detail, that the panels actually blow out and it's not just something that you have to imagine. Thank you, Obsidian, for paying attention to those details. It's great. Keep it up. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you're noticing the differences in Armored Warfare. We've obviously been using World of Tanks as our comparison. And, you know, both games are great, and World of Tanks, of course, provides the foundation for what this game can become. But with that said, there are a lot of things under the hood here that you have to pay attention to. In fact, those of you that are wondering about the ballistics in this game, and perhaps even thinking that the ballistics are simple, I'm going to have 2 links in the description below for you by the developers talking about how the ballistic systems work or will work in the future. And it's actually quite in-depth and detailed. I myself could not make a better video showcasing the features of this title. So if you're really into the technical aspects of how the ballistics and armor work in this game, then definitely check out the videos in the description below. Moving right along, a little bit of teamwork here. You can see that we haven't taken any massive damage. Tracks have been hit a couple of times, utilizing cover until the point where we know it's safe to push up. We do have some targets out in the distance there, but really weak, so they're not going to want to press out too much. I noticed that one of the mistakes that people make is they use up all their health really early on, and they don't take cover until after they're almost dead. And you guys got to realize that it's better to not get hit in the first place. Save that HP for a situation that you're going to see in the end of this match. It's a shining example of why you need to hold on to that health. And we'll get to that in a bit, but again, just this tank is a beast from the front. You get flanked, you're toast. You know, you've got a big turret to shoot at from the side. You've got that hull and the tracks that are easy to hit. But if you can keep the Patton angled to the front, in cover, hull down, you're golden. Also, you might be noticing some ballistic inconsistencies. My ping, if you look at the right, is absolutely terrible. This was on the European server, and it was worse than it ever was. I usually get around 150 to 170, I think. And yeah, the lag was affecting my shot time here, but we still managed to do a pretty decent job at hitting targets regardless. Okay, so remember when I said that it's usually a good idea to hold on to some health as you're battling on? This is going to be an example coming up after we see this target here. I was worried about my flank, but I'm more worried about my ally up here. You can see that he is a shot away from death. So I'm going to try to make it up towards him as quickly as I can, and he's backing off a little bit there. Somebody's speaking to me in German, I think. I don't understand. I shoot out and I say, you know what, I've got plenty of health, let me take the shot. I jump in front of him to protect him from the blast, and I bounce one off the enemy turret, but I'm just trying to get in the way of this guy's shot so he can't kill the other guy. I take the shot and we destroy the target. I hope that he understands that I did that to save him and not to steal a kill. If you're watching this, I just wanted to keep you alive. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you've enjoyed today's look at Armored Warfare. Don't forget to take a look at the links in the description below, as well as the playlist for Armored Warfare here on the channel. And with that, thank you all so very much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.